Hey there, Shane here. Have we got a ripper for you this week? And this one's only a shorty. Andy's disappeared down another Freedom of Information rabbit hole. Last I saw, he was buried under a mountain of council minutes muttering something about procedural irregularities. So I reckon I'll have a crack at this one. Picture this. One of the council's longest-serving councillors remembers there being a flagpole in the park when he was a lad back in the 1950s. Yep, that's going back a fair way. Apparently he's been a councillor off and on for nearly a half a century. So onto the council agenda goes his proposal to put a brand new flagpole back in the park. Now here's the bit that got me scratching my head. These days, councillors are expected to follow the Nolan principles. Number 1, selflessness. Public office holders should act solely in the public interest. So naturally the first question has to be, who benefits from a flagpole? The Good Councillor Guide says the job is to bring local issues to the council and help make decisions that benefit the whole community. Now maybe a flagpole does exactly that. Maybe it doesn't. But one question we couldn't find being asked was, is this really what the community needs? Or are we scratching one councillor's nostalgic itch? One man's quest to reconstruct memories from his past, is that in the public interest? Remember, his wish fulfillment and this pressing personal issue, his desire to erect a totem to his past in the park, is happening against the backdrop of a punishing cost of living crisis. Thankfully, the rest of the council takes a fairly practical view. Several councillors point out it wouldn't be a great look spending money on a flagpole while residents are feeling the pinch. The proposal is voted down. Rare common sense prevails. Meanwhile, someone generously donates money to create warm spaces in North Tawton's pubs over the winter months. A lovely idea. Now here's something I didn't know. Once money comes into a parish council, even as a donation, it becomes public money, which means it has to be administered in accordance with the council's financial regulations. Quick side note. Remember the councillor who championed the Lich Gate, got bullied and eventually resigned? Well, he later challenged the council's accounts. And in 2025, the external auditor upheld his objection, finding the council had breached the financial regulations. Worth parking that little nugget in the back of your mind. Anyway, an anonymous donation arrives for warm spaces. A genuinely generous gesture. Except, apparently not a single pub wanted the money. So where did the donation end up? Well, that's where this story takes a very interesting turn. Once a council has voted on a proposal, it cannot be revisited for a minimum of 6 months. So cut to 6 months later and the flagpole is back on the agenda. Same councillor keen to enjoy taking everyone down his memory lane. During the meeting, however, it is announced that the item has been withdrawn. Why, you ask? Well, with a magician's sleight of hand and with the wave of a wand and a quick abracadabra, the anonymous donation gets pulled out of a hat and offered up to purchase the already rejected flagpole. In 3 months, the donor has gone from well-meaning to a scene-stealing make-a-wish for one lucky councillor. And suddenly, a flagpole that had already been voted down because councillors thought it wasn't a good use of taxpayers' money is back on the menu. So much for warm spaces or public money or compliance with financial regulations. Now, here's the bit that surprised me. You might think, what's the problem? Someone's giving money away. Well, not quite. Parish councils aren't just a committee of locals, they're public authorities handling taxpayers' money. And that's why anonymous donations can be a bit of a curly one. Good governance guidance warns that anonymous donation can raise questions about money laundering, undisclosed conflicts of interest, quid pro quo arrangements, and public transparency. Because if nobody knows who's giving the money, how can the public know whether there's any influence attached to it? It's hardly on a Nigel Farage scale. You know, his 5 million quid windfall. You know, the donation that became the subject of plenty of public scrutiny and political argument and now investigation, especially after it appears he lobbied the Bank of England to drop a cryptocurrency plan that could be costly for the billionaire donor bankrolling his party. Whether it was simply generosity, a reward for the costly and damaging Brexit, or something else entirely has certainly been debated. Good governance guidance issue, again, methinks on a grander scale. But at least everyone knew who the donor was. Here, though, in the Shire of West Devon, the public doesn't even get that luxury. Maybe there's nothing to see. Maybe there is. The point is, the public shouldn't have to guess. Now, governments have never exactly been famous for spending money wisely. You've got HS2, the Millennium Dome, and then there's the ever-growing bill for refurbishing Buckingham Palace. Tell you what, Charlie, if the taxpayer's paying for the renovations, perhaps they could have first dibs on the ticket sales as well. Only seems fair, mate.
But the issue is that we as taxpayers have paid £359 million for this to be refurbished. All bells and whistles, all the royal bedrooms have been sorted out at great expense and luxuriously. The estimate went up from 50 million, by the way, but ended up at 369 or 359. That means that the palace should now be open to the public. The public should be able to go in the 12 months a year. And the ticket sales should generate income which goes back to the Treasury to pay for this huge refurbishment that's just taken place. Because at the moment, we pay for the refurbishment and the King regards the money he gets from ticket sales as private.
Thanks for that. Norman Baker, everybody. Former Liberal Democrat MP, making a lot of sense there. Anyway, at least that money isn't anonymous. But this one, This isn't really about spending public money. It's about transparency. It's about how one anonymous donation changed the story. And the questions that followed: Paris has the Eiffel Tower. Blackpool has its tower and the illuminations. London has the Tower of London and North Tawton. Well, North Tawton has a flagpole. Whether it's a proud symbol of community spirit or a monument to the wonderfully baffling world of local government, we'll let you decide. And remember, that's why anonymous donations can be a bit of a curly one. And bear in mind that good governance guidance warns that anonymous donation can raise questions about undisclosed conflicts of interest, quid pro quo arrangements, and public transparency. So now ponder as I sum up the following. An anonymous donor offered to heat warm spaces in November, but 3 months later was happy for it to purchase a flagpole. No scrutiny, no discussion amongst councillors, no recorded decisions in the council's minutes. But the taxpayer now picks up the bill for every inspection, every repair, every repaint, every insurance premium, and every future replacement of parts, ropes, lanyards, flags. Those are ongoing public liabilities. And as far as we've seen, those future costs were never put to a vote. Isn't democracy supposed to be about elected representatives making decisions openly, transparently, and with the public knowing exactly what they're signing up for? Thank goodness Mohammed Al Fayed isn't around still handing out brown envelopes of cash or offering hospitality at the Paris Ritz. Instead, the town gets the flagpole. The taxpayer gets the ongoing bill, and nobody gets told who paid for it when nobody wanted it. That's not the sort of openness I'd expect from any level of government, national, county, or parish. North Tawton deserves better than opaque decisions and unanswered questions. Because if you wouldn't accept this sort of thing from Westminster, why would you give your local representatives a free pass? That's a question only you can answer, dear listener and resident of North Tawton.
Andy here. I've been listening intensely to this story and perhaps can sign off the podcast with the following observation. The danger with local government isn't usually grand corruption. It's the quiet acceptance that no one is paying attention. North Tawton, for your own sake, pay attention.
So either you all need stronger coffee in North Tawton or it's such a sleepy town you simply don't care. I can't believe that is the case, but I will beg you all to wake up and get involved. Shit is going down and you can't abdicate responsibility. The smallest councils often make the biggest decisions in people's daily lives. That's precisely why they deserve the greatest scrutiny. Until next time, keep your sense of humour, keep asking questions, and keep the bastards honest.
We'd still love to hear from
Hey, I think we cracked that one without having to do it again. Nice sign off from you, Andy. Didn't know you were listening.
Give us a tune on your didgeridoo.